this is Season 4, Episode 14.
Or Episode 84 if you're counting.
Don't mind this picture here, that's only from
every time.
Not every time, only a few
every
times.
other time at this point.
Some people by now already know what our stories are anyway.
But some people want to be surprised.
Well, they don't care.
They care.
Nobody, you guys don't care, right?
Do you care? You watching right now, do you care if you're counting?
Don't mind this picture here, that's only from
every time.
Not every time, only a few
every
times.
other time at this point.
Some people by now already know what our stories are anyway.
But some people want to be surprised.
Well, they don't care.
They care.
Nobody, you guys don't care, right?
Do you care? You watching right now, do you care?
Mascot, I think, at this point.
No, at this point, if you think the cat's a mascot, the automaton's more of a mascot than the cat is.
Yeah, perhaps. Some people have addressed their appreciation of the automaton appearing from episode to episode at this point.
Yes, because the novelty has not worn off. No, I get that.
The novelty won't wear off because it's just such an interesting musical instrument.
That it is. That it is. So, what is going on this week? Yes. So, we saw the premiere of Ninja this weekend.
Yeah, we sure did. So, that's the most recent addition to the Super Sentai lineup.
Yes.
And that was very interesting. I mean, clearly it's very over-the-top for children, ninja in nature, but...
It's a little interesting seeing the whole, we're too busy, or I forget how exactly they phrased it, we're too focused or we're too into this to bother with hiding. They're ninja who don't hide. Yeah,
and so they clearly make fun of that frequently. What kind of ninja or shinobi even act like these people? Let me know, you guys, if clearly I'm seeing the pictures looking kind of choppy, but so long as the audio is okay, I think everything's gonna be alright.
It should be okay.
So
I don't see why not.
Yeah, we'll put up with the choppy video for now. A little earlier this week, I tested some streams over to both Twitch and...
I think the cat's a mascot, the automaton's more of a mascot than the cat is.
Yeah, perhaps. Some people have addressed their appreciation of the automaton appearing from episode to episode at this point.
Yes, because the novelty has not worn off. No, I get that.
The novelty won't wear off because it's just such an interesting musical instrument.
That it is. That it is. So, what is going on this week? Yes. So, we saw the premiere of Ninja this weekend.
Yeah, we sure did. So, that's the most recent addition to the Super Sentai lineup.
Yes.
And that was very interesting. I mean, clearly it's very over-the-top for children, ninja in nature, but...
It's a little interesting seeing the whole, we're too busy, or I forget how exactly they phrased it, we're too focused or we're too into this to bother with hiding. They're ninja who don't hide. Yeah,
and so they clearly make fun of that frequently. What kind of ninja or shinobi even act like these people? Let me know, you guys, if clearly I'm seeing the pictures looking kind of choppy, but so long as the audio is okay, I think everything's gonna be alright.
It should be okay.
So
I don't see why not.
Yeah, we'll put up with the choppy video for now. A little earlier this week, I tested some streams over to both Twitch and time, and it was quite a bit jittery, but it was a good test to see whether or not I could, in fact, do it. Yes, we did get a PS4. It only came bundled with a couple of games. One of those games of which was Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and I am not a Call of Duty player by any stretch of the imagination.
I am, however, a fan of Kevin Spacey, and...
whose performance in the game is quite good. But, for some reason his facial expressions, like they didn't animate his face nearly as well as he spoke. It just kind of didn't match up. I don't know why that is. But the stream to Twitch actually, because unfortunately the PS4, like, it has native broadcasting, but only to either Ustream or to Twitch, and currently not to Hitbox, I could in fact do it. Yes, we did get a PS4. It only came bundled with a couple of games. One of those games of which was Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and I am not a Call of Duty player by any stretch of the imagination.
I am, however, a fan of Kevin Spacey, and
whose performance in the game is quite good. But for some reason his facial expressions, like they didn't animate his face nearly as well as he spoke. It just kind of didn't match up. I don't know why that is. But the stream to Twitch actually, because unfortunately the PS4, like, it has native broadcasting, but only to either Ustream or to Twitch, and currently not to Hitbox. You know, I probably won't be playing it online a whole heck of a lot.
I understand after that, because I came in a couple of hours after you'd already been playing, and yeah, I get how, one, it can be tiresome, and two, a couple of the comments can be a little off-putting.
Well, yeah, because, like, clearly, you can't just call yourself a gamer and then get comfortable with other gamers, because it's like being interested in different kind of movies, you know? If I stream a JRPG, most of the people come in and they want to talk about JRPGs,
right,
or how did you like this, or how did you like that. As soon as I start playing Call of Duty, that's when all the douchebags come in and they, like, start making fun of my voice, like, oh, are you a boy or are you a girl? And, oh, I guess they couldn't tell, like they didn't know what story mode looked like, and they're like, by the way, this isn't Call of Duty, you fat and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my god, like this was also somebody that was like, oh man, I've had a bad day, I had a panic attack earlier, and I was like trying to talk to him and calm him down, and I'm like, oh dude, that really sucks, I've been around people who've had panic attacks, I don't really know how to help you
and
right
then he
now,
hits you with that.
but I hope you're doing okay, and he's like, yeah, well by the way, you fat well, okay? Remind me not to be nice anymore while I'm playing Call of Duty, I guess.
Well, I don't know that it said anywhere that you could possibly be nice while playing Call of Duty.
Well, I don't... You know what? If I do play online, I should just be really friggin' polite. I should be the most polite person.
Just like you play the most polite Sith in SWTOR.
Yeah, like, I should offer everyone cookies, especially the ones that are, like, calling me names and all this other crap. Like, I should just kill them with kindness.
That's possible.
Possible.
Not really.
I think it would just irritate them.
It would probably just irritate
Which would
them.
be kind of funny.
A little funny.
So, we should probably talk about what our actual stories for the week are.
Yes, because we actually have a full show again tonight. I love full shows.
Yep. So we're going to be starting out with some pieces of animation news. Shows, for example, such as Inspector Gadget and DuckTales and others, Danger Mouse, are all getting reboots as early as next month, which is kind of exciting and kind of scary.
Yes.
And we'll talk about why that is in a little bit.
Second story we've got is there was a ruling by the FCC holding up net neutrality. Well, this seems to be a good thing. There seem to be a couple of iffy things on the horizon, so we still have to be very wary of the situation as far as net neutrality goes. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
And then finally, the internet exploded with a fan power /Rangers film.
You knew we were going to talk about it. Some of you knew we were going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it
A slightly
tonight.
less than 15-minute fan film that is very not safe for work. One version more not safe for work than the other version.
Because of boobs.
And then the further pulling of said movie project from different locations. So we'll talk about why that is and why it's important and important to the community. And yes.
And yes.
Alright,
follow-ups. Alright, here we go. So, follow-ups. We didn't make it a full story this week, but you guys knew we were going to talk about that too. Aquaman. Aquaman. So, within the past week, really right as soon as we ended last week's show, Zack Snyder decides, you know what, they're done with the show. I'm going to put out some not quite Justice League news. Boom, there's Aquaman. So we got our first look at Jason Momoa in costume. I wasn't expecting to see it anytime soon, but a lot of news had been coming up, so here we go. A lot of people are making the comparison, oh, he looks too much like Khal Drogo, and it's like, so? Like, if you really look at it, he, despite the body paint, which seemed to be throwing a lot of people off. He looks like the Aquaman I remember from the 90s.
Yeah, which at the same time looks like Khal Drogo. I mean,
admittedly, yeah,
well,
I can still see it.
I think especially the parts about it that are off-putting are the body paint and the really dark shading of this photo, because no photos coming out of this movie have been well lit.
That's kind of the problem that everybody's been complaining about.
In that sense, yes, this photo does paint very Khal Drogo kind of imagery.
But either way, it shows that they're trying to portray Aquaman as a badass, and I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. If he's going to play him hard, no, I am the king of Atlantis. Fish obey me. I don't talk to them, they obey me. That's a line straight out of
I
New
command
52,
them, yeah.
Right, out of New 52 Justice League. Like, if that's the way they're going to have him portray it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not so much the problem here. Now, I get, yeah, it would be nice, Snyder, if you could give us something that wasn't completely black, gray, and sepia.
Yeah.
That would be so nice to be able to see actual red. To be able to see actual red on Wonder Woman's costume, too. Batman could use a little more color in the cheeks. Like, that, we could use this stuff.
Right.
Fans need this right now. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing. You know, it's not... I thought it was going to look a lot worse, to be honest.
I'll live with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
But it looks pretty good. Okay, so moving on to other news. The Lego Movie has officially gotten their sequel entitled The Lego Sequel. The Lego Movie sequel.
That's not very creative.
That's not very creative
But I
either.
think it was going to put butts in seats no matter what.
No matter what. But there was this nice big performance at the Oscars this weekend of Everything is Awesome with Tegan and Sarah and The Lonely Island, featuring, why can't I remember his name?
Jack Black?
Who
showed up?
No, Jack Black was at the beginning of the show.
Oh, you're right, he was. I didn't watch the show, guys. I'm sorry.
Dude who played Batman, playing Batman, singing, Darkness,
no parents.
No parents, and that little bit made me very happy.
Uh-huh.
But it's nice to see that they're going through with the movie. It actually also got a new director, and my computer's moving slowly.
No.
For that, no.
No, it's not. You're just clicking things badly.
Perhaps. Well, they got a new director. That's important for them. But also in accordance with, Oscar news. Will Arnett, thank you, Movie Brad. I appreciate that. Also with Oscar news, since we covered Big Hero 6 before, turns out Big Hero 6 walked away with Best Animated Movie.
Not surprising, but especially not surprising because we know that the people who judge the animation portion of the awards segment do not actually watch all the movies within that category because they're just like, well, these are cartoons, they're not movies.
And that's the thing that's been angering.
Or this is foreign, this isn't American, why do I give a... like, that, yeah, that is really angering.
It's very angering when they give comments, and these comments are made available to the public. And they say things like, you know what, I was just too busy to watch everything. I'm not even voting.
Or the ones who thought that, for example, what was it? The Wind Rises was one of the ones in the... And then another one from Italy?
Yes.
Thought that both of them were these effing Chinese flicks. Like, he had no idea.
No idea at all.
No earthly idea.
So in that sense, that portion of the Oscars is still a bit broken, and it would be nice. I mean,
as if the rest of it probably isn't broken similarly.
That's not to say that Big Hero 6 is a bad movie.
I didn't think it deserved Best Picture, personally.
Yeah.
Ireland, you're right. I knew it started with an I.
Yes. So, good for Big Hero 6. I remember they're still making plans for a sequel, but we'll see more about that once Disney comes forward with that information. Mm-hmm. Moving on to other news, we were talking about Ninja. Now we'll come over to America and talk about Dino Charge. Within this past episode, Yoshi Sudarso, who plays Koda, the Blue Ranger, managed to sneak in a little soundbite for people who are fans of what they're adapting from Kyoryuger. Towards the end of the episode, he actually managed to whistle/hum the beginning of the Kyoryuger theme.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a nice little Easter egg to see in there. And if you follow him on Twitter, which I highly recommend you do if you're a fan of Toku or Tokusatsu, the guy is just like any other fan. He's cosplayed before, he's it's nice, again, to see evidence that there's a fan there on the inside, so to speak, you know, actually there representing other fans who are aware of the Japanese source material.
Right.
But you were bringing up an interesting fact that Saban's not saying anything about him tweeting about the fact that he's blatantly watching fan subs.
Yeah, because I feel like, well, why are they gonna care, because their property isn't, like, they haven't licensed those titles yet that he's tweeting about.
Right,
you know? If he were tweeting about things that they've licensed and they're actively trying to produce, they might have a problem with it. But so long as it's not Power Rangers, Saban barely gives a...
Yeah,
that's... Barely. They care enough when, say, it's a video game that looks like Power Rangers and you're about to try to sell it to the United States public. Then they care. Then they
Our Story Tonight.
Or Our Story Tonight.
So,
but that one actively is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Right.
So thus the reason why Saban cares.
Okay. Moving on to other news. In Terminator Genesis news, Arnold Schwarzenegger has confirmed that there is going to be a sequel to Genesis already, and that he will come back for it.
Okay.
So we're going to have an even older T-800 down the road.
Okay.
That's
all I can say. Okay.
So,
like,
June 28th...
It's gonna happen, just let it happen.
June of 2018, we'll get that sequel, June 29th, and we'll see how much more CG they're gonna have to cover him up with, because by that point, like, really, like, they should off his T-800. I'm just saying that now. There's no point at this point. If they're relying so heavily on CGing in the younger him, but then offing him, like, let's follow a new... Can we work on trying to make another Terminator more appealing to the public?
Like what?
I don't know. That's the question they have to answer. How do we make the Terminator appealing to the public without Arnold Schwarzenegger?
How about, hey, how do we tell a new story?
That would be nice.
A new story.
But you know they're not going to do that.
Like surely there's other people within this robot resistance front somewhere in the world. Don't they have interesting stories to tell?
You would think.
Like, you can still talk about this universe and about Terminators and about, like, I don't know, Cyberdyne and I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, like how they invented time travel.
Yeah, that
Nobody ever covered. I hope they cover that, but I doubt they're going to linger on it very long in this one.
That's true.
So, moving on to other news. Having already covered Jen and the Holograms, which is still apparently on track to be released, we have an official synopsis, which I will read now.
And I'm going to call bull every time there's bull.
And I quote, "As a small-town girl catapults from underground video sensation to global superstar, she and her three sisters begin a one-in-a-million journey of discovering that some talents are too special to keep hidden. In Universal Pictures' Gem and the Holograms, 4 aspiring musicians will take the world by storm when they see that the key to creating your own destiny lies in finding your own voice."
Okay, let me go over this. All right.
Okay.
Small-town girl. Wrong. No. Jerrica Benton is quite the rich little hottie after her dad dies and leaves her $80 bajillion in a record company.
Basically think Thea Queen on Arrow.
She does not become a video sensation on either the internet or just suddenly pop up on MTV or something. She's got a supercomputer that, using holograms, thus Gem and the Holograms, using holograms projects new clothing and a new identity onto her and her one sister and 2 friends. And they make a band to act in secret to be able to do things that Jerrica Benton, as a young girl who just acquired a record company, cannot do. None of this is in any way similar to the original animated series. At all. Also, I'm only seeing 3 holograms here in this picture. 3 of the members of Gem and the Holograms. Where is the 4th one? Where's the 4th? I know she exists, and I guess she's just not in this picture.
Well, I guess not, but I'm trying to make sense of the picture here, because they've released a screenshot, really the first we've gotten. I guess that's Jem in the center, because of the tinting on this picture. I can't tell if that's blonde in bad lighting or the actual pink of her hair.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell.
And then the other two, you got me. I mean, yeah, they've got a keytar, but okay, great.
I guess they're going to say that they're adopted siblings because they are multi-ethnic, but they weren't adopted siblings. One of them was a blood relative, and the other two are friends. It's wrong.
It's very off, to say the least. Off. Okay, so moving on to other news, back over in DC, the Suicide Squad movie has added Jay Hernandez in an unspecified role, and they're not saying one way or the other who he's playing, so speculation's up in the air as to who that can be. Also, along those lines, Jared Leto has been interviewed about playing the Joker, comparing him to a Shakespearean character, and that apparently he's bulking up for the role of the Joker.
Why would the Joker be beefy?
I don't know. We've never had a really beefy Joker. I mean, we've had... Nicholson was kind of a saggy Joker, but, you know, that he was still a good Joker.
Yeah, I guess. It's just like, if you're gonna be a Joker, I'm assuming you're playing off the old cartoony image of what a Joker is, like a court jester. And what court jester is super beefy?
Well, I honestly don't know what physique he was in before he took the role. I mean, I'm not accounting anything from Dallas Buyers Club, because that's too far removed by this point. But you think about it, most depictions of the Joker in the comic, or even in most animated media, save the Batman, have been very lanky. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you would think, well, why would he be a little more beefy? Because when I think beefy, I worry like it's like Tobey Maguire beefy for Spider-Man, where in retrospect that was completely wrong for the character. So here, I'm wondering about that, like, is that going to be the best thing for the Joker? I don't know yet, because we still are seeing this Suicide Squad movie develop in front of us, and that's just a little more piece of I don't know about that.
Yeah, okay.
And then the last little bit of news, which actually popped up just before we started running tonight. Apparently, CW, seeing the immense success of Arrow and Flash in the crossover episode, are looking to do another show, which is basically nothing but crossovers. Mm-hmm. And they're looking to use a team consisting of Brandon Routh, Victor Garber, Wentworth Miller, and Katie Lotz, who, if you've been watching the shows, that's the Atom, Half of Firestorm, Captain Cold, and the original incarnation of Canary on the show. So people are thinking this is kind of going to be like Brave and the Bold, in a sense where they're following minor characters throughout, and they're saying they're also going to introduce 3 other DC characters that, and I quote, have never shown up in visual medium before. So it's anybody's guess who that could be.
Well, visual medium would also include comics, because you see it.
Well, not visual medium, live action.
Live action medium, yeah. Okay, let's see how they do.
So far, I'm liking the idea of it. You know, we just saw Brandon Routh's Ray Palmer get the Atom suit just this past week. So, you know, I've got nothing but high hopes for this. Mm-hmm. They've been doing a great job as far as the TV front is concerned there on CW. I want to see more. They're going to give me more. I'm all for it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. So stories.
Stories, yeah. We got a few of them. So we're starting with cartoon stuff first, right?
Yes, cartoon stuff.
All right, cartoon stuff. I think I have. Is that a cartoon? Okay. Well, let's start with just using a picture of Danger Mouse for a second here. So a number of cartoons we've just learned from 80s moving into early 90s. Some of them carried over. We're learning are getting reboots. One of these happens to be Danger Mouse. What do we know about Danger Mouse? Spring 2016?
Yes, spring 2016. It's going to feature, wow, Stephen Fry's working on this, you know, famous British comedian, as part of the voice cast on this. You know, dangerous super spy, Danger Mouse, you know, old cartoon. I wasn't a big fan of Danger Mouse. I actually liked Mighty Mouse a little more growing up.
Yeah, well, Mighty Mouse, interestingly enough, in the late 80s into the early 90s, had its own reboot, and it was directed by Ralph Bakshi, and it had, like, this phenomenal cast of, well, really, the core crew. Was a bunch of dudes fresh out of animation school, and it included, like, Bruce Timm, and like, just all these really amazingly talented and hilarious people, and it really kind of turned Mighty Mouse on its head. So yeah, I think I was more of a fan of that Mighty Mouse than necessarily Danger Mouse. Now, interestingly enough about Danger Mouse, as well as Inspector Gadget, which is actually coming out, I think, what, next month, really?
March.
Yeah.
Next month. This year.
Both of these series are gonna be Netflix properties.
The important thing to bring up is that, yes, Netflix, now becoming quite the... I feel weird saying TV, but yeah, television, the show juggernaut now. Mm-hmm. Not only acquiring original programming, but now working in the cartoons here, the classics here. Now, Inspector Gadget, I was down with Inspector Gadget growing up. I had just about every action figure I could get my hands on. I think it was my 7th birthday. I got the Gadget Mobile as my birthday gift, and
it seemed really plain that the animators of Inspector Gadget in the 80s were like, man, you guys remember Get Smart? Why don't we make Get Smart again, but do it for kids? And then they even go and they get Don Adams and even the Chief, I think, was the same voice. I'm not really sure.
No, he wasn't the same voice.
Either way, it was kind of the same premise of, secret agent.
Bumbling secret agent with the exact same delivery,
responding to the Chief, always getting delivered a message that will self-destruct, and it was really quite fantastic, a way of envisioning kind of Get Smart but for kids in a very comic-y cartoon sort of setting. So we actually took a little bit of time and we watched a number of these stingers that I guess this is being produced by Boomerang in some capacity, because they're the ones who were releasing all of these stingers for these upcoming episodes.
Well, they're releasing the stingers, but this is still being put on Netflix, though. 26 episodes.
I'm not thrilled that it's CG. However, after watching a number of these stingers...
That's not to say it's lousy. No, it's actually pretty faithful to the original...
Yeah, that was kind of the interesting thing.
And that surprised me.
I didn't necessarily like just how jerky everything, but that's kind of the direction that CG animation is going in these days, and I kind of don't like that. But at the core, pretty much every single character was correct.
Yeah, everything was pitch on with every character. Penny, Brain,
they
Gadget,
were almost entirely were all good impersonations of the original cast, except for the Chief. Didn't really like the Chief's voice. The Chief didn't really sound anything like the Chief. But Penny still acts like Penny. She's wearing a slightly different kind of shirt. That's about all that's different about her. Gadget's, really, he used to have a really long coat. Now his coat is just kind of up to his hips, but otherwise it looks exactly the same.
It went down to his knees. Now it goes a little about halfway up the thigh now.
No, you can totally see crotch in some shots, man. I'm telling you, it goes way, like,
well,
he's got like a mini skirt coat now is what I'm saying.
Either way, it's still Inspector Gadget. I appreciate that whoever they've got, because, we only had so much time before the show tonight to look up who's playing who in this, but I appreciate that as far as Inspector Gadget goes, he's not doing a flat-out Don Adams impersonation, but at least he's got the tone and the cadence down.
Yeah, he really does. He sounds just about close enough for me, and otherwise the characterizations are definitely correct. He's just as bumbling and just as, I'm gonna use a gadget to get me through this situation, and then I'm gonna get that gadget wrong.
Yeah, or making an assumption about something, and then Penny's gotta clean it up. So that's actually looking pretty hopeful, all things considered.
Yeah.
And then the other interesting thing to hear about was that, aside from these two series on Netflix, Disney XD is going to be bringing back DuckTales.
Essentially in a reboot.
Yes,
because the way it's coming across.
Right, they're looking to launch in 2017 on Disney XD. The phrasing here, like you said, yeah, makes it sound like a reboot, because they say, our new series will bring that same energy and adventurous spirit to a new generation. That speaks reboot to me.
Yeah, it really does, although they're keeping characters like Scrooge, Donald Duck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Gyro, Launchpad, Butler Duckworth,
the Beagle
Glongles,
Boys.
the Beagle Boys, Mrs. Beakley, Webby, so that sounds, promising. I need to see more before I really decide one way or the other. Pretty much with all these series, though, especially Inspector Gadget and DuckTales, I would hope they keep some remaining hint of the original theme songs. Well, they were both just too catchy, and everybody knows them. Everybody can sing them. Well, everybody knows how they go.
We just went to an event this past weekend where we did the cartoon intro sing-along again. Those theme songs, Inspector Gadget and DuckTales, come on. Everybody in the room knows how those themes go. Mm-hmm. It would be stupid not to keep them.
Yeah, you can update them, that's fine, but I really feel like it's important to keep these songs because everybody friggin' knows them. To change them would be suicide.
Right. Like, I think about it, like, just a little earlier, I was watching the remake of The Odd Couple over on CVS, and they've updated, but they haven't completely removed the way the theme goes from the old 1970s version, the core of that is still there. So with DuckTales and Inspector Gadget, you kind of have to keep that way people who know, just hear it, it's like, hey, what's that? And then they're drawn towards the TV or Netflix.
We have more than one person asking for a reboot of Reboot. That has been in the works for at least a year.
As far as we know, but we haven't heard anything new, so...
But it was sounding promising at the time, because it was the dudes who originally animated Reboot doing Reboot.
Right.
So, we'll have to wait and see if we ever hear any news about that again.
Right.
We'll see. For now, we at least know about this stuff. If it's Disney rebooting their own DuckTales, I mean, maybe it'll be okay.
Well, the one thing that makes me iffy about that is, well, they're not exactly in the same place that they were, say, 20 years ago, when DuckTales was at its height.
Well, yeah, cartoons are also kind of in a different place than they were more than 20 years ago now. Because DuckTales originally came out in 1987, and this was like the height of Saturday morning cartoons, and then Disney Afternoon was about to become a big thing.
Well,
so
when I say 20 years, I'm talking about like at the height with like, Treasure of the Lost Lamp.
Oh, yeah. That friggin' good movie, by the way. So fantastic that as of recent, they finally re-released that movie on DVD in a form where you can actually actively purchase it either in stores or on Amazon, because it used to be that you could only get it by being a Club Disney DVD member, and I had to go and hunt it down through really weird back channels, and I finally got my copy. So I have a copy that's different from all these other, it's different poster art, real old poster art too, but if you haven't seen that movie, man, go watch it. It was such a well-animated movie too.
Right. But all things considered, yeah, we're going to have to wait a bit on DuckTales, we're going to have to wait a bit on Danger Mouse. I do advise that if you guys were fans of the original Inspector Gadget, go on YouTube, just look it up. It's not that bad. Speaking as a fan of the original Inspector Gadget cartoon, it's not that bad.
I'm a little saddened that they ditched the old Gadget Mobile, but they do show it before it crumbles up and it blows away. But, very sad. Goodbye, old Gadget Mobile.
But I don't feel bad about it. I might spend some sick days watching it.
Yeah, that's very true. I would watch it as well. So, Inspector Gadget I think I'm the most excited about right now because they've shown proof that at least at the core it's the same heart and feeling.
Right, and when you're
that one has proven itself to me.
When you're doing that in a reboot, as long as you can prove those things, that you've got the same heart, the same intentions, and you're paying attention to where it came from, then yeah, you're probably on a good path there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely in agreement there. So, I guess we'll move on to our next story. What are we looking at next?
The neutrality of the net.
Neutrality of the net. Gotcha. So, as usual, and we talk about net neutrality from time to time on the show, and it's important to talk about
very important.
Every time we get the chance, because typically I just kind of relegate it to, oh, this is just an update to the story, and then we'll move on to a real story. But no, so it has been decided again by Congress that net neutrality is in fact important, that we're going to keep it neutral, that the FCC is not going to be able to choose slow lanes and fast lanes.
Right. The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, approved that net neutrality. You know, it's classified as a utility now.
Broadband internet, it's classified as a utility. So what's a utility? That's similar to, say, electricity or water or garbage pickup or gas, that sort of thing. So television, interestingly enough, is not considered a utility, and yet the internet is being classified as such. Which I think is really interesting and really important, because just because for right now we are winning to keep the internet free at the same speed for everybody and not having to pay a premium, that does not mean that big major TV and movie, old visual media business is not going to keep trying to throw their weight around.
Oh, they're not happy about this.
Oh, no, not in the slightest. They're going to keep trying to throw their weight around and keep trying to push this on us. This is why I say it's so important that every time it comes up, it needs to be talked about, so that everybody else out there is talking about it, so that everybody else out there is speaking to congressmen, speaking to the FCC, letting people know, hey, nobody wants to pay more money just to go faster. Businesses like Netflix are totally not cool with this. I don't think Hulu, they may or may not be with it because they're dealing directly with networks and stuff like that. But Netflix themselves has specifically said, hey, net neutrality is not going to help us, because if people have to pay for our service and they have to pay for better internet to watch our service, business ain't going to fly. And then who are we going to do business with to, like, acquire new shows and stuff? Like, this isn't going to work out.
Now, the thing is, there are certain companies already that are, like we said, pretty angry about things and making remarks, let's say, about how things are going to go down the road. You know, companies like Verizon or Time Warner saying, hey, we don't like this. Just keep an eye out on things, you know?
Yeah.
You sure you don't need help walking home, you know? Very cryptic sort of things over the waves, because they're not going to take the sitting down, because any chance that a company has to make a dime, they'll make that dime.
Oh, and yeah. They'll leap at the opportunity, yeah.
Right. So something like this, where something's still allowed to be widely accessible to, anybody, anywhere, that's not good for business, because the business of business is to keep business good. And how do you keep business good? Sometimes you got to raise prices. And when you raise prices, you end up with not so happy customers. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is, not so happy customers usually try to find ways around that. So...
Hey, Cat, can you not scratch yourself during the show? You're shaking everything.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry about the earthquake, guys. That's the cat.
Cat causes earthquakes. She's just that big.
Go do that somewhere else. Thank you. Okay.
FCC, right?
FCC, right. So, the debate over this has been, how do we keep it free?
Keep fighting.
Right.
Keep letting people know. This is, again, why we keep bringing it up.
Because the second any of us stops paying attention to this, that's when they try to move on things. When there's a lull in the chatter on, say, Facebook or Twitter, when they see people aren't paying attention, that's when most of the legislation tries to get moved in favor of getting rid.
Hell, I seem to remember, like, 2 or 3 years ago, they tried to pass bills on it after court was no longer supposed to be in session, and they just sort of assumed, oh, well, nobody's gonna notice, alright, we win, and everybody was like, oh no! no, 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 that ain't gonna fly.
You know, that's why nowadays we have that, what is it, hashtag don't sleep.
Yeah, pretty much. Somebody had better always be friggin' awake. Always be awake.
And I probably within the next few months we'll see if anybody's actually going to come forward and be like, you know what, we're gonna fight this. Lawyers. Here we go, lawyers. We're gonna find every last loophole we can get through. We're gonna fight this decision at every single break because I want that extra 25 cents in your pocket.
Yeah, and this is, this is coming from big movie industry and big TV industry who really, they're holding so hard to old business models and really don't have a clue how they could actually be making money on the internet the way it functions right now, and they would rather break the internet in order to get what they want. And in the end, it will just be bad business, not just for, visual media, but if you do any sort of business on the internet, anything they try to do to create internet fast lanes could really harm a lot of businesses. A lot of people who you wouldn't think would have any sort of involvement in this industry. So this is why this is really important, because Verizon is still constantly pushing for, hey, let's try and charge people for how much internet they can use or how fast they can use it. I mean, as it is, you're gonna be paying for example, we have Time Warner Cable,
right? And
to the best of my knowledge, I believe we're paying for the best speed of internet I can currently purchase.
Or we can currently purchase, yeah. But then you've got like companies like Comcast who want
to be able to charge you for like what websites you visit.
Right.
This one's really video heavy and it has a lot of TV shows. You're going to need to move a lot faster than we're going to let you to access this website.
Like, I think I said this once before in an earlier story covering this, where basically at that point it's kind of like these different wireless companies are basically racketeers,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you wanna go look at Tumblr, right? Be a real shame if you did that slow, huh? Yeah. Protection money right now. For some
very, very mobster kind of.
In that sense it is. Because I shouldn't want to have to be, like you're saying, paying for a service and then paying for that service again. It's kind of the way I feel about having to pay for Hulu Plus multiple times, which is why I don't have Hulu Plus. At some point I'll probably break down and get Hulu Plus because I want to watch The Flash sooner, but that's besides the point. I shouldn't have to pay more than once.
Exactly. It's kind of like, this is kind of stretching and might only reach a certain number of people who understand this, but at the time, a while back, Final Fantasy XI got released finally for Xbox 360, and for a while it had only been PC and PS2. So once it hit Xbox 360, Square Enix was like, alright, so we want to get all of our community up and going, they're just going to be paying for our services and that'll be it. And then Microsoft was like, nope, they got to pay for Xbox Live too. And then Square Enix was like, well they're not going to go for that. They're not going to want to pay for your service and pay for our service, paying like $30 a month to play Final Fantasy XI. Nobody's going to like that. And so finally Microsoft had to give in, but they were pissed.
Yeah.
Nobody
understandably
liked that.
So. Because you want to be able to pay the set price and then play the thing you bought.
Yeah.
But then adding these extra surcharges on there, why would anybody want to put up with that? They won't.
Mm-mm.
So, as such, yes, we have to keep a very close eye on this thing. For right now, I don't even want to use the term safe. We're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the fight's not over yet. The fight will keep going until some sort of legislation comes down that means people can't jack with it.
And I'm just reading in the chat room, AT&T does, in fact, also offer different kinds of internet service. Poor man. I, in fact, used to do technical support for AT&T Uverse. So, yeah, you've got Uverse kind of internet that is cable internet. I believe they still have a DSL service for some stupid reason. Plus, they have satellite service through Dish Network, and Dish Network is an AT&T service that serves service.
Yes.
So there's multiple options for AT&T internet service, and yeah, I had multiple issues with AT&T myself, as well as other customers having issues with their service, and I think they're some of the racketeers for net neutrality being thrown into the garbage as well.
Right. So any chance you guys see this pop up on your feeds, always read into the stories, make sure you have all the information you can, because any second they could try and pull this out from under us and then make us pay an extra fee for the internet we already have now.
Exactly. So I think that's about it.
Yeah.
This, again, is just your every so often reminder, don't forget about net neutrality.
Yes.
Yeah, we've won a battle, but not the war.
Right.
So we'll move on to our last topic, which I think it's fair that we're using this long amount of time to cover, because I think we have quite a bit to say.
So, where to begin?
Go ahead and give your description of what we're talking about.
Okay, so, as most of you know, of Power Rangers.
They have a date on it now, right?
Right, next year.
Yeah, okay, so they're moving.
Yeah, they've got a date. They're gonna move on this. Well, before that, just this week, really 2 days ago or so, a man by the name of Joseph Kahn decides to put out his version that he'd apparently been working on for a little bit, that he calls...
What's happening? What have you done? Get rid of that advertisement.
I got it.
Okay.
So this Joseph Kahn guy comes out with his vision for what Power Rangers is. Now, take into account whether you guys have read up on this or not. We're going to give you as much fact as we possibly can. This guy doesn't know Power Rangers.
Well, no, but, somebody told him what Power Rangers is.
Right.
And I think the fan film is detailed enough to hit all the right points. Like, yes, these are in fact these characters, and these were their relationships to one another to a point. It's really... I'm gonna say this much. I think for what it is, it certainly had high enough production value. It certainly was a good, entertaining thing.
Well, I would like to try and simplify it to at least 3 things on the topic. One, the product itself, this 15-minute, give or take, little movie. Mm-hmm. The reactions people have been having online, and the reaction Saban brands have been having to it. Mm-hmm. So, starting with just the movie on its own, try and give everything due process or due time. The movie itself, yes, it is classified as grimdark. Like you're saying, the relationships are there, sort of. It's basically like it is. This guy was told, hey, can somebody give me a brief overview of what this stuff is? And so maybe they, referred him to Linkara's video or something.
Who knows?
And he skimmed through it, and he's like, yeah, okay, I took a couple notes. All right, that's cool. All right, let's make this thing. And he got names right, and he got the costumes right-ish.
To an extent.
To an extent. And then he takes it off in this own wild direction, mixing up, as a fan, somebody who's paying attention to the canon of the thing you're adapting, he's mixing stuff from all over the place. You've got the original Mighty Morphin suits, you're referencing the Machine Empire, although you never really show any machines.
But the Machine Empire, they did say, they said that Mighty Morphin's team was disbanded. So this is taking place after Mighty Morphin is, over.
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm trying to rationalize it on the one hand as a fan, but I can't hardly.
Well, don't, because it wasn't made by a fan, so why should you?
Right, which brings me on to it. People are saying, the fan reaction, it's all over the place. It's one, oh, man, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted grimdark Power Rangers for so long. And then you got the exact opposite. No, this isn't Power Rangers at all. This is the antithesis of Power Rangers. There's nothing about
this is totally stupid, blah, blah, blah. So here's where I'm coming from, because I feel like I'm kind of nice and in the middle, because I like Power Rangers, I like Zoo Rangers, and I only watch so much of either one. So my feelings on it were just, well, that was a really interesting piece of entertainment. And then, well, I don't think I would enjoy it as a full movie. I don't see myself wanting it. Because, yes, it is the complete antithesis of what Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and really Power Rangers as a whole, even is. Because think about it, it spawned from Japanese television, it's for children, it's a children's franchise.
Right.
These are, multicolored kids in suits doing really super wild, crazy, you can't rationalize what they're doing kind of moves and equipment, and it doesn't work that way unless, I guess, you're Michael Bay, and then you make movies out of a children's animated franchise, and then you grimdark it, kinda, which kind of proves that it's been done. Or, Gatchaman, for example, is another example where Japan decided, that old cartoon we made? We're gonna... Battle of the Planets or G-Force or whatever, we're gonna grimdark the hell out of it. That movie sucks.
Well, it sucks for multiple reasons, but that was one of them.
Yeah.
Let's be fair on that. That's a whole nother conversation we'll have to have on a separate note. But actually, for once, and I don't often say this, and you guys know we don't often say this, I actually agree with Jason David Frank's sentiment on the movie in that...
Up to a certain point.
Up to the point where he's still petitioning himself to Lionsgate for getting in that movie. The fact of the matter is, yes, this is a children's franchise that some older fans still appreciate. Mm-hmm. So as such, if you want something that's like what you saw growing up, but you want it to be a little more serious or a little more gritty, there actually are shows that offer that kind of entertainment.
Yeah, that's already out there. You don't need to make it. It exists.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is, over here, most Western audience members don't know of the existence of these shows. Like, perfect case in point, Garo. Garo is a perfect example of tokusatsu action, kind of the same effects that you'll get from a Power Rangers show, but it's got grittier, more adult elements in it. Mm-hmm. If you want tits, there's tits in Garo. That's not a problem.
I'm personally a huge fan of Lion Maru G.
That's got a lot of adult humor in it, too.
Mm-hmm.
And, these shows exist. It's just people over here don't know that they can get access to this or find out, somebody actually already did this, so I don't have to worry about warping what Power Rangers is to get that kind of entertainment. Mm-hmm. So that's as far as, I'm willing to say on that standpoint. People have an option for that kind of entertainment, and you can get that. You don't have to warp something you grew up with to get that. Because that seems to be the thing that everybody who wants a grimdark Power Rangers reboot seems to think, is that, well, in order for a good Power Rangers movie to exist, I have to warp what Power Rangers is, and I don't think that's necessary. I think you can tell a good, honest, heartfelt story without having to rely on, the opening cinema from Call of Duty on top of Zentai suits.
Right, exactly. This fan film was released in 2 different locations initially. It was
on
released
Vimeo.
On Vimeo and on YouTube.
Right.
The Vimeo version was slightly more not safe for work than the YouTube release. And really the only difference was that you can see 2 women's naked boobies on the Vimeo version. And the YouTube version has them wearing bras. That's really about it.
That's about the extent of it.
Otherwise, they're basically the exact same little 15-minute movie. But both have now been removed, although you can still find lingering copies uploaded by other people.
Because people saw that certain companies, who we'll go ahead and name, Saban, were getting kind of mad at this product. And... yeah, that ties back to Saban's playbook. If they see something that's in the slightest infringing on what they believe is theirs, they will fight it, litigate it, or try and buy it out.
So, like that, I may have only so much enjoyed this fan movie. However, man, Saban's dicks.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
I would not want to squander anybody's right to make a fan movie, or especially if it can even slightly be considered parody, because I think to a certain extent, yeah, this fan movie could be considered parody, because I found myself going at every single little twist and turn, like, what?
Yeah,
more like it was almost funny how ludicrous it was. Like, it was so bad it was good. We had one person say, this was addressed with the finesse of a 15-year-old writing really bad fan fiction, and I loved every minute of it, so said a friend of ours.
Yes.
And to that extent, like, I get that. I get why you would be entertained by something like that, because it's like, man, now I kind of want to see, like, this guy, this director, do that grim, dark, gritty movie version of that one fanfic where that one person wrote Anne Frank in a relationship with Goku, and then Goku has to Super Saiyan fight Super Saiyan Hitler.
Oh.
Like, see, these are things, like, it's just so stupid that, yeah, I get why you would be entertained by it, you know? That's kind of the direction I'm coming from with it, and thus, I can understand why people are pissed at Saban. But the reaction from the director, it was the director, right? Like, he started flipping out, Vimeo, why are you removing my videos? This is so stupid, and I'm gonna keep holding it up over here on YouTube until blah, 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 blah,
yeah.
until I finally get a cease and desist. Well, it turned out it wasn't Vimeo at all. It was Saban being like, take this down. We own the copyright. Take it down. Which they're kind of in their right to do, but at the same time, really, come on, who's making money off of it?
Like, nobody's making money off this.
Dude was doing it for free because he wants work.
Right.
You know?
Which is a lot of part of the argument as well, is that this guy's only worked on so much stuff like Dread, Lone Survivor, and so he wanted to do this. And he just wanted to do this, you know, this little one-shot. Well, the thing about it is, this one-shot has really gotten people talking. And I think some of this is important conversation to have. Like, one, if you're the copyright holder like Saban, can you not be a douche for 5 seconds? Like, can you not? Like, it doesn't matter whether or not the thing was good or bad, can you just not? Is as far as that goes. And then as far as the entertainment portion is concerned, do you want that kind of entertainment without having to sacrifice certain childhood memories to get that?
Right.
And then if, you know, on the, you know, the third portion of these three things that we've been talking about it, if this is supposed to be satire, I didn't, or even parody, I didn't quite grasp that, just because it's kind of important that if you're going to do this, satire and parody are best when you've done your homework. Because you think of anything like Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, hell, Mad Magazine for that matter, the funnier jokes that are made in there are when they've paid attention to the details. Key and Peele, they do the same thing. If they're making fun of something, they've paid attention to the details. Like when, in certain sketches, when they make fun of Game of Thrones, and they're actually throwing out actual jargon from the show, actual names and actual events that have happened, woven into the jokes, it's like, oh, well, these guys are actually aware of what they're talking about. That makes it funnier to me as a fan of the thing they're talking about. So, as far as that is concerned for Power Rangers, you can't just throw names out there and hope they stick. You know, kind of remembering, oh, well, Kimberly was blonde. No, Kimberly wasn't blonde. She was kind of a brunette, but, you know.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But you see, that's the thing. He only paid so much care to it. And this isn't a matter of adaptation versus, you know, translation. This is just some guy's fan fiction, really.
Yeah.
And when you break it down, that's about it. This is fan fiction. Some people are choosing to like it. Some people are choosing to hate it. I'm saying it's not my favorite. I don't like it. But, you know, that's the thing. It's not going to ruin Power Rangers for me. It's certainly not going to ruin Super Sentai for me. And I doubt that Lionsgate is paying enough attention to this thing to really consider, maybe we should rewrite that script we're doing for next year. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they know better than this guy knows what's going to sell. Because anything can go viral, you know, on YouTube, but only certain things will actually sell. You know, there's a difference there still. And Power Rangers is still a brand that sells. They will go with what sells. This, obviously, it wasn't designed to make money. This was designed for just, I want to say flash, you know, for shock and awe. And that's about the long and short of it.
Okay.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. So we pretty much hit the end of our hour.
Yeah, so we have.
Yeah. But if you are here in the chat room with us right now, feel free to stick around with us for the next half an hour where we're going to be talking about Q&A related stuff. If you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to come down here on Thursday nights at 9 p.m.